They won't care about you until you care about them or show them how much you care about them. That's everything. How much should you sell your firewood for? That's what we're going to talk about right now. So some people are in the firewood business for the long term. That's me. Some people are in the firewood business just to make a few dollars on some wood they have. Some people have some wood they just want to get rid of and want to make a few quick bucks. And then there's what I call the not too bright people. These are people that have potential to have a really good business, to build a good business, but they almost give their product away. And I know the market they're in makes a big difference, but if you're in a good market with good sales, with a lot of customers, you should not be doing what I call the fast nickel approach. So there's three trains of thought when it comes to charging for your firewood that you're selling. One is the fast nickel. That to me is the foolish thing. The second one is the steady dime. The third one is the slow quarter. I want to be one of these two or somewhere in there. I don't want to be this guy. Because producing firewood, as you guys know, is a lot of work. It's not easy. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of materials, a lot of equipment. And if you're going to go through the work to actually produce this stuff, to get it to market, to sell it, why give it away? Why work for almost nothing? But yet, there's guys that do that. Basically undercutting it so much that they're going to move it fast. So they're going to do what I call the fast nickel. And that's a term that's pretty common. Basically, they just want to churn and burn. They want to go through it as fast as possible. The problem with that is you still got to do all the work. You still got to get it to the people. You still got to dry it. You got to split it. You got to cut it. You got to take care of all of it. Yeah, you might put some money in your pocket fast, but that is not a smart way to do business. The smart way to do business is produce a quality product, do it right, charge a fair price. And what that means is you need to make enough money so that you can buy the product, so you can buy the tools it takes to produce the wood. You can buy more wood that you can grow your business. If you're just trying to blow out inventory, if maybe you want to get out of business, and you want to just get rid of it, maybe that's the way to do it. But you're selling yourself short, and you're doing the industry a very, very big disservice, because there's no reason to do all this work to produce this stuff, to give it to people, just to put a couple dollars in your pocket. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know why anybody would ever do that. In my main business, I've been a professional photographer for 43 years, and I've been self-employed for 36 of those years. We have always been towards the top end price-wise, always. Because I want to make as much money as possible for the effort I put into it. Plus, I was nationally ranked. I was in the top 5 for several years of photographers in the nation in my work that I did. So there's no reason for me to give it away. I worked hard to get my degrees and to build my business up to the point where I wanted to be desired, and I wanted to be the brand that people wanted. I wanted to be the place to go to. And I believe the same thing with firewood. I want to charge as much as I can to still retain my customers at the level that I'm comfortable with, which is doing a couple hundred full cords a year. If I was to go to do maybe thousands of cords a year, then yeah, maybe I would adjust the price a little bit. But generally, when it comes to business, you can choose 2 of 3 things: cheap prices, really good wood, really good service. What do you want? You can only choose 2 of those. You're going to pay really good for good service and a good product. But if you want it cheap, you're not going to have good service. You might have good wood, you might not. Or you might have good wood, very poor service. You got to decide where you want to be. You can't just say, hey, I'm going to be everything to everybody either. You can't be the low price leader when it comes to something like this, because you can't deal on a big enough scale. Scale is everything. Scale can crush you. Volume of work can destroy you. I used to do high volume in my photography business. I didn't want to keep doing that. Basically, you're just churning and burning, and you're trading time for money, which is what an hourly wage person generally does. In a business, you want to trade some effort with some thought to grow the business, to sell more, to buy at a good price, to deal with your product where you're buying your raw materials at a lower price, and then you can make more profit or provide better service to where you can have people get the wood same day, next day, faster, better, quality wood. There's a lot of things you can do, but if you're just going to go after the price and price only, why would you want to be down in the dirt fighting for pennies with people that are just doing this just to get rid of wood? Why do all that work just to break even? You have no additional revenue, and a lot of people don't get this in business. If you don't have a profit, you go out of business, because profit is how you pay yourself, it's how you buy more raw materials, it's how you improve your quality of your machinery or your equipment to produce it, or to grow to hire employees. You got to have profit. If you don't have profit, might as well stay home, stay in bed. It's just a fact. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there right now, because we're in an area right now where the emerald ash borer is killing all the trees off. Everybody's got wood right now. The market is down, and I've been asked this by a lot of people on the channel. What is the current state of the wood industry? A lot of people are saying it's great, it's the heyday, there's free wood everywhere. Well, if there's free wood everywhere, everybody has free wood. I don't like it. I want it to be an undersupply of product, not an oversupply. I want lots of people with limited supply. That's a good market. If you've got lots of supply with few people, that's a down market. That's a terrible market. And right now we're in a glut. There is wood everywhere. Free wood just keeps coming here. It just keeps coming. And a lot of you are getting a lot of free wood, which is great, and it's fun, it's fine. And yeah, you can get that free wood and you can turn it over. And that's a nice feeling, to not have money going out of your pocket, going to buying logs, to buying raw material. It's nice to keep it in your pocket where it belongs, like I like to say. But the problem with that is everybody's in the same situation. So there's free wood everywhere. So sales are going to hurt because of it, because there's piles of wood in everybody's backyard right now, and everybody's curb. Everybody's got dead trees in their yards here. I know it's working from the east going to the west, and it's a few year process. It's when it first hits, you won't see a lot of dead trees, but you'll see some dying trees, and then you'll see quite a few trees. And this year where we're at right now, I can look out across the field and I can see dead ash trees everywhere. Dead ones standing amongst the live, living green trees. And those will only stand for a year to 2 years, and they'll start going down. As soon as they go down, they hit the ground, they rot. So the cycle is going to end here probably within 2 years, and there'll be no more, I shouldn't say no more, there'll be much less free wood available. Now, if you're in an area that has lots of people, few trees, you're in a big city market, say you're in somewhere out east, New York City, Chicago, one of the big cities, your prices are going to be much higher than mine. Lots of people, few trees. The market is the market, but yet there's fluctuations in there. People will pay more for the service, I've mentioned that. People will pay more for quality. People will pay more for the relationship aspect of it. But in big cities, I know people, a lot of them, and a lot of you are going to be shocked at this because you can't conceive of it because you live somewhere out in the sticks possibly, and you've never realized what it's like in big cities. Everything costs more. You can get an apartment somewhere in a small town, northern Wisconsin, I'm just saying because that's where I live. You can get an apartment for maybe $800–900 for a one bedroom. That's kind of the going rate. I've got 2 kids that live down in Milwaukee area, bigger city. They're paying like $2,500 a month. You go to New York City, big city, you're going to get a one bedroom apartment, and you're going to pay 2–3 times that, easily. Firewood's no different. Northern Wisconsin, a third of a cord of wood, $70–80. Here, where I live in the Fox River Valley of Appleton, bigger market, the prices for wood, around $120 a face cord. You go south to Milwaukee, bigger city, prices are $140, $150, $160 for a face cord or a third of a cord. You go out to the East Coast, big cities, or even down to Chicago, or if you go over to, like say, I said, New York City, big city, you can pay anywhere for a third of a cord, $200 on the very low end, to easily $300 or more. So where you are matters. The market matters. So if you live out in the sticks and there's no people around you, unless you can truck that wood to where the people's is my good friend Delague would say, yeah, you're not going to probably sell your wood for very high prices. So the market matters. But that doesn't mean you should give your wood away. Charge as much as the market will bear. If everybody did that, it would be fantastic. Unfortunately, we can't do any of that price setting in an industry. People have tried it over the years, but there's always some turd in the punch bowl that comes in and undercuts everybody and gives stuff away or at cost just because they want to gain market share. And yeah, they do it, but they can't stay there very long. You might be able to produce wood cheap for a short period of time, but eventually it's going to catch up with you. You're going to run out of revenue and you're going to run out of product. And then if you run out of both of those, you can't get more raw materials to make more product to gain more revenue. Think it through. So if you're in the business and you want to stay in business and you want to grow your business and you want to put as much money in your pocket as possible, do the method that I call high quality, high service, moderate volume. That's what I'm doing, where you charge towards the upper end of what's in your market area. Now there's people here in my area that are selling wood for $80 for a third of a cord. So for a full cord, they're getting $240 and they're perfectly happy. Now, if I go into northern Wisconsin, that's kind of the average price. But around here, $90 without any delivery, just for pickup, to $100. That's kind of the range. I charge $120 for a third of a cord or a face cord. And I'm not at the highest, but I'm definitely not at the lowest. I'm towards the higher end. And I would like to be towards the higher end, have a higher quality product, better service, better relationships with the people, because that is everything. The relationship you build with your customers is how you can charge more. If you look at a bottle of water at a convenience store, you're going to have some store brand that's going to sell for, let's just say, $1 a bottle, because that's what it costs them to get the bottle, put the product in it, get it on the shelf. And they can get it there for maybe 80 cents, and then the store sells it for $1. They might be making 20 cents on it. But then there's another kind of bottle of water that's there. It's in a glass bottle. And it has a special process to get it in there. It might be mountain water. It has a different type of wrapper. It's presented differently. It's packaged differently. And that bottle you might pay $4 or $5 for. But there's people that will buy that because they have the perception of quality, or they've had it and they just like it better because it is clear, filtered, whatever special process is being done. Now, there's a lot of people that don't care. Price, lowest, is all they care about. The problem with that is that that's a hard place to be in business. If you want to actually make money and stay in business, you can't be at the bottom. You cannot compete against the big guys. You just can't. They're too big. They buy in discount prices for their volume, and they have been in business so long with what they do, the relationships they have built up with all their customers, the distribution they have, the shelf space they have, the good name they have, the good product they have, the good packaging they have. You can't compete with that. But what you can compete with is getting to know people, getting to service them when they call. You call them or you text them and you call them by name. When you go there, you show up as fast as possible. You call them by name. You ask them how their kids are doing. You ask them how their dogs are doing. You ask them how their new baby is. You ask them how their new wood stove is. You ask them how their new fire pit that they just put in the backyard. Are they enjoying it a lot? Are they having more fires? How was the wood that I delivered last time? Did it burn well for you? Did you like it? People want service. They want to know that you care, because they won't care about you until you care about them or show them how much you care about them. That's everything. 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 If you show and display to them that you care about them and their experience they're having with your product, they'll know that you care about them. And they won't care about reordering from you until they know that you care about their experience with what you sold them. It's huge. So I am in the school of slow dime or medium dime, slow quarter, more service. Again, it comes down to the volume. I don't want to get super, super big, but I'm as big as I can handle right now. But I want to charge a good price for a premium product, is the best I can. And that's what you guys should all be working towards too. If everybody would realize that you can only stay at a cheap price for a very limited amount of time with your product. You will sell out. I did it when I first started. I had my wood at $90 for a third of a cord, and I delivered it. I sold everything I had within a couple weeks. The next year I raised my price $10, and I sold everything I had within a couple months. And I produced twice as much that year. The next year I produced twice as much again, and I didn't raise my prices, and I sold it all out again. I was running out of wood every year. Well, that's an indicator of if you sell everything you've got, your price is too low. If you completely empty your shelves, that means people would have paid more. And I'm okay with carrying some inventory over, because if you do the math, I would much rather make an extra 20-30% on a product and only sell out 70 to 80%, because that wood is not going anywhere. It's money in the bank. It will sell eventually, and I'd rather make a little bit more on it because of the effort I have to put into it. So think about that. Are you after the fast penny, or the kind of quick nickel, or the slow dime, or the real slow quarter? What are you after? I'm after, I just did some delivery today. I'm not after any of that change. I'm after this. I'm after the Uncle Benny's. This is what I want. More of them. All of them would be nice. It's not going to happen, but. So basically, charge what you're worth. If you think in your mind you're only worth a little bit, so will the people that you have for customers. If you think your time is valuable, if you think what your product is better, higher quality than the other guys, charge accordingly. Another way to look at this, and I've mentioned this to people in the past, most people do firewood that I know as a side job. It's not their main business. I do know quite a few people that it's their main business. It's their whole business, the big producers. But if you're doing this on the side, think about it this way. Say, just for instance, you're an average guy and you make 30 bucks an hour. That's kind of an average rate for a lot of people. 30 bucks an hour is a $60,000 a year job, which is about the national average. So at that 40 hours a week, you're making your $30 an hour. Pick 40 if you want. Say $40 an hour. Times your 2,000 hours you work in a year, it's $80,000. So figure out how much you got to make on your firewood to make more than that per hour, because that's overtime. That's how you got to look at it. You'd be better off working overtime instead of selling this stuff where you're making an extra $20 an hour. Because if you're only making 20, 25 bucks an hour making firewood, you should stay at work an extra 10 hours a week at $30 or $40 an hour. Just make more money that way than have to go through this hassle. Charge accordingly. So if you're working overtime to produce wood, make sure you're making an overtime rate. That's just the way I think. I might be weird, but tell me if I'm right, tell me if I'm wrong. Those are my thoughts. That's all I got for today, folks. I'll see you tomorrow morning, 5:30 a.m. with another video. I'll be right here waiting for you 24 hours from now. You better show up. But now you should go watch the other videos. There's over 1,800, almost 1,900 more videos all about firewood on my channel for you to watch right now. Good night, everybody.